I'm really excited because we're just a few days away from version 6.2 and we're finally getting some official info about Columbina's kit. In today's video, we'll break down what Columbina's abilities actually do. Keep in mind that all this information comes before the beta starts, so nothing is fully confirmed yet. Numbers and even parts of the descriptions might still change, so think of this as a pre-kit, not the final version. So let's get into it. But before that, if you are excited about Durin but have no Primogems, don't worry because you can save up to 25% on Genesis crystals at lootbar.gg. You can grab all-in-one pack and the 6,480 Genesis crystal pack, normally $100 in-game, for just $75 on Lootbar. That's 81 pulls if this is your first purchase, and it almost guaranteeing you a 5-star for your account, while saving you a good total. The process is super simple. Just enter your UID, select your server, and receive your crystals in under a minute. No password needed. Lootbar uses legit recharge channels, has hundreds of 5-star reviews, and partnerships with several big content creators that you probably know, so everything is completely safe. Lootbar supports PlayStation 5 and Xbox top-ups. Also, don't forget that the double bonus for your first purchase on each pack has been reset. Click the link in the description to claim your extra discount. New users get an extra 10% discount, while returning users get 5%. In the initial leaks, Columbina looked like a simple off-field support, the type that shows up, drops a buff, and disappears. But now, her base kit already shows that even at C0, she provides direct bonuses for lunar reactions, boosts team attack, and grants interruption resistance to nearly every element, except Pyro and Cryo. That already puts her in the category of characters who support the team just by being on the field. Instead of being another generic damage buffer, she's shaping up to be a support made specifically for reaction-based teams, something many of us already expected. Let's start with her skill description. It says, Columbina applies Hydro in a small area around herself and summons an entity, currently with a placeholder name, that waits for the team to trigger a lunar reaction. When that reaction happens, the entity hits nearby enemies with lunar reaction damage that scales with Columbina's max HP. What's interesting is that the type of reaction it replicates depends on which lunar reaction previously dealt the most damage to that enemy. In other words, the entity adapts to how your team fights. She not only sets up Hydro for her allies to trigger reactions, but also deals follow-up reaction damage that adjusts to whatever worked best against that target. This turns her from a passive buffer into a support who actively contributes to the team's damage rotation. That said, the small radius part caused a bit of concern in the community. The way it's described sounds similar to New Valette's Hydro application area. Some players are fine with that, seeing it as intended for close-range teams that fight near enemies. Others worry about bosses or enemies that jump, fly, or teleport, fearing they'll have to constantly chase targets to make full use of her Hydro application and lunar reaction hits. Situations like that could make her kit feel clunky, depending on the matchup, especially against some bosses. But we can be a bit more optimistic and assume that small radius might just be vague wording, and that in practice, the field size could be similar to other existing skills, or even work like Furina's summons that follow targets around. Until we see real gameplay, it's all still speculation. Her burst has also changed quite a bit since the early leaks. At first, it was supposed to last 20 seconds with a 15-second cooldown, suggesting a near-constant buff, similar to supports like Furina or Nahida that maintain long uptime. Now, the description simply says that she creates a field that boosts the team's lunar reaction damage. But it doesn't specify the duration, cooldown, or buff value. That's typical of an unfinished kit. The effect is defined, but the numbers aren't locked in yet. Either way, its role is clear: a field that amplifies lunar reactions for the entire team. If it ends up having strong values and decent uptime, she could easily become a must-pick for this kind of setup. Overall, Columbina seems to be developing exactly as expected, a specialized support for lunar reaction teams. Instead of being a generic drop-anywhere support, she now feels designed for compositions centered around Nodcry characters with very specific synergy and team dependence. This leak also changes the earlier perception that her kit would be basic or recycled. Now she looks much more layered, with abilities that react dynamically to the team's actions and provide buffs that maximize reaction damage. Of course, opinions are split. On one side, people are very excited about her overall potential. Hydra application, HP scaling, adaptive lunar reaction follow-ups, and see her as a big boost for lunar reaction teams, possibly making those comps much more viable across all contents. On the other side, there's legitimate concern that she could end up too niche, demanding heavy investment in specific characters and team setups. Unlike Furina or Yelan, she might not fit easily into every team and still perform at full power. And then there's the people reminding everyone of a few key things. We haven't seen her passive talents, constellations, or final numbers. And most importantly, there's no real gameplay yet. We need to see full rotations, reactions with different characters, and tests in high-end content. It's entirely possible that major parts of her identity are hidden in her passives or constellations, just like with other characters who only felt complete once all the information dropped. So any final verdict right now is just an educated guess based on incomplete data. At this stage, the most accurate way to see Columbina is as a very promising, specialized support for lunar reaction teams. But if you're expecting a plug-and-play unit that works in every situation without much setup, it's better to hold off on the hype a bit. Keep an eye on future leaks and decide where to spend your Primogems once we see real beta gameplay. Now, once 6.2 rolls out on 3rd December 2025, we will surely get Columbina's official gameplay like we always see. This is not a surprise, but a pattern directly. So I'll update you guys once that happens. Now, the special leaked info is provided by DNK and HXG that Sandrone will die once in future story, but don't be sad because she will be reincarnated into some new form, or probably in a similar way it happened with Wanderer. And it's looking really crazy. I did mention about this in my past video, and I was on point, but I'm not bragging. Well, if this leak is true, we might not see Polonia with her when she becomes playable. So let's see how things turn out. Anyway, that's everything we know about Columbina from the latest leaks. Let me know in the comments what you think. Are you planning to pull for her, and on what team would you use her? And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to me, and I'll see you with more exciting info when her gameplay drops. Till then, take care. Bye!